Hi, and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My name is Lisa Curcio. We all have an abundance of designer series paper scraps if you're a paper crafter. And today I'm going to give you a great tip on how to use them to make a super simple card. Not only am I going to be demonstrating one with you, but I have an alternative sample to share with you using the same scrap method. And here's the card I'm going to be demonstrating with you today. Really easy for Christmas, and I've got some tips about that ribbon that I'm excited to share with you. Now, if this is your first time visiting my YouTube channel, I would love to encourage you to subscribe. Click the subscribe button down below, and next to it, make sure you click that small bell icon. That will send you notifications when I'm live here on YouTube, as well as when I upload a new video. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started on today's project. Here's a close-up of the card we're going to be creating together. Isn't this cute and so easy? All right, let's get started. I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock here, and I chose this because it coordinates with the background of the designer series paper that I'm going to use. And I'm cutting 3 pieces of designer series paper, and they are in graduated sizes, and I chose mine to be alternate patterns within the same color group. This is a great way to use up those scraps. Very simple to create a cascade of boxes for different occasions. But I'm going to give you some tips about the ribbon on this. Now, I've tried it many different ways, and this way is the easiest for me. I'm going to be using my silicone craft sheet for this. Liquid glue, hot glue, and adhesive will not stick to it. It simply rubs right off, which is going to keep my work surface nice and clean. I used 4.5 inches of ribbon, and that's going to work perfectly from the bottom to the top of these packages. Now, it's going to be important on the placement of the ribbon because remember, the box on the top is going to be smaller and narrower than the boxes at the bottom. So let's start by placing adhesive on the wrong side. So I'm going to work on my outside edges and along the bottom perimeter. You want to make sure that it's good and stuck. And I'm leaving about 1/2 inch from the bottom, centering it the best that I can. Now comes the ribbon. This beautiful garden green double-stitched ribbon is in the holiday catalog. Love it because there's no right or wrong side. I'm going to start by placing adhesive right down the strip of that ribbon, and adhesive does work well. Now, if you're more comfortable with tear and tape or glue dots, that's fine. I'll come back over here to my card, and I'm going to lay this ribbon about 1 inch from the bottom left side. Remember, we've got to compensate for those boxes going up. Now, because I know there's adhesive near the top, I'm going to take my silicone craft sheet and I'm going to place it here. Remember, adhesive will not stick to it. And that's going to ensure that I've got adhesive already prepped for it for the next layer. I've got my next box here, and I'm going to put adhesive on what's going to be my wrong side. Again, making sure that you border all the edges. And then this time, this is going to butt right up against the first piece. Make sure that you're looking to keep equal space on both the left and the right side. And then you can just attach your ribbon. One more time, I'll place my silicone craft sheet here with the adhesive on it to hold that in place. And then I've got my last box, again, working on the wrong side. This piece now will go here near the top. Again, I'm going to line this up to make sure that I have equal space on both the left and the right side. And then I'll secure that in place. So 4.5 inches is the secret here, and the length of the ribbon if your boxes are going to be the same size as mine. You're going to find all the cutting dimensions down in the link of the video description below if you are here visiting from YouTube. The next thing I decided to do was to make a bow to place here at the top. I like to create mine while it's right on the spool. That helps me to save a little bit of ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead and create this. This is a little bit thicker ribbon. And because the ribbon is double-sided, I don't have to worry about me turning it inside out, which means that the wrong side would be facing out. My best tip for you when making your bow is to make sure that you pull it tautly. You want that knot nice and tight. And then pinch it or squeeze it, and then you can adjust the loops. That's going to help hold the tension on the bow. I'll come in with my paper snips, and I'll just give those ends a little bit of a trim. To attach that bow, I'm going to be using my glue dots. So I'm going to peel back my glue dots here. And because this is sizable ribbon, I'm going to use more than one. I want to make sure that stays in place. And I'm going to adhere that here near the very top. I want to create a tag for this. Now, make sure you stick with me to the end of the video. I've got another sample to share with you that's not Christmas. The other one has the greeting in a different position, but this time I'm going to create the tag at the top to make it more reminiscent of Christmas. I'm going to set that aside. This is a small piece of very vanilla cardstock. I chose my greeting from the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. I'm really having lots of fun with this. Greetings for both the inside and sentiments for the outside. You'll find that in the current Stampin' Up! Holiday catalog. Now, if you don't already have a demonstrator and you would like to receive a complimentary copy of the holiday catalog and or the annual catalog, head over to lisasstampstudio.com and click on Contact Me. Now, I chose to stamp that greeting in real red ink, And I've got my greeting here. I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp that here in the center of my box. To make this look more like a tag, I wanted 2 Mitre Corners. Now, of course, you can go ahead and use your scissors to do that, but I'd like to show you a little trick. This uses the tailored tag punch. Aside from this great shape, I find that it makes really great mitered corners. Now, I'm going to want them here near the top, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put this on an angle, and I'm going to snip part of that away. And then I'm going to come on the other side now, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here, looking to make as much of the same angle as possible, and that will give us our tag ends. I found this to be quite stark, and I was afraid that it was going to blend in too well with the rest of my cards. So I've got the garden green ink pad here, and I'm using a sponge dauber. I love these because you can put your finger up inside to help control the use, and I'm going to ink that up. I also have a scrap piece of grid paper here. These are the small grid sheets. I want to make sure I don't have too much ink on there. I want to be able to control the coverage. So I like to dab some of that off. And then I'm going to come right around here on the edges and add a little bit of color to kind of soften up this tone. If you want more color on the front, you'll tip the dauber forward. And if you want it only on the sides, you're going to go straight up and down. We can attach this now either with a glue dot or a dimensional. I'm going to use a glue dot today. So I've got one here, and I'll tack that down. And I'm going to use more than one because I know that's a sizable tag. I'm going to place that up here near the bow, but I want to make sure that it's going to be visible so that you can read it. And then I'll tack that in place. So it'll look like it's part of the bow, but it really isn't. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, and we're going to add adhesive to the back side. I like to work generously in my 4 corners. That'll get layered on a piece of real red cardstock so that everything coordinates. This is a very narrow border, just 1/8 of an inch. The base of my card is going to be garden green. I did squirt in half right before you joined me, so I'll go ahead and fold that. And I'm a big fan of using my bone folder for that nice crisp edge. And this piece is going to get layered on top as well. So I'm going to place adhesive around the perimeter one more time. And again, this only has 1/8 of an inch border of color all the way around, and then I'll tack that in place. Now, I promised you one other card using this exact same layout, and it's a great use of your scraps. So this time I used it for a birthday card. So instead of making the tag, I mounted the greeting here along the side. Just another great way for visual interest on your card. Which one is your favorite? I'll tell you what, it's a great way to use up those paper scraps. It's even a project the kids can make with you. If you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up here on YouTube, which is a like. It certainly helps. And I look forward to having you join me next time. Have a great day.